Let's unmute and speak now. Any takers? Okay, so what have you gotten out of the 7-step program so far? For those who completed their only we call an assignment, whatever we want to call it. This one you're keeping your mouth like that. It's like you're itching to speak, but you don't want to speak.
Whose time be this one where you use come set me up now? Whose time be this? Teach me. I, for one, I think that it had been a long time since I actually went when you said your why, I haven't opened, like, I know the why, but I hadn't gone into the detail of the why for such a long time. So that note had been in my phone for like years. I've not opened it.
Wow. Okay.
So it took me back there and I looked at it properly because I had like some thoughts in my head. I'm like, are you sure that this purpose is the purpose? Are you sure that this thing you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing? So, but when I went back to it, then it awakened like my understanding of my why and how, because I probably knew why, but I didn't remember the how until I went back to look at it recently. So that's one of the things that it did for me. Like, it opened a door that I hadn't opened for a long time. No, you're just doing it. You think that you're just on track. You're doing what you're supposed to do. But the how, I'd kind of lost track of it. I was doing it, but not with intentionality because I didn't go back to it. And I think it was a turning point for me, really, just to have gone back to my why. That's from the step one. So it's been a very interesting journey. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Great. Any other takers? Sister. Okay, Grace, let's take you first. Next, sorry.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Coach Osmo. Let me just continue along the lines of what Al mentioned. For me too, it was a defining moment when I had to put together my why. I've not been that detailed, and I remember the time we asked us on the facilitators group about our why. But this time around, I was more detailed when I was thinking about it, and that kind of gave me more clarity on what my why was. Another point for me was when we talked about why who fell, when why Saul rather, why his ministry fell, why all those whys. For me, it was a point where, for me, it felt like a warning where I was understanding that God was admonishing me that these are the things that could make someone to actually fall. So these are the things you should be aware of when you are when you get out there. I'm already out, but I'm not like out. So I felt like that was a warning, like be careful of this thing, be careful of pride, be careful of this. It was like a fresh new warning again because I remember especially when I read who was that, whose kingdom? It wasn't Saul. I can't pick exactly who right now. But when I read that, it kind of shifted something in my spirit. You know, growing up, there was something my sister always said, Grace, you are this kind of person, Grace, you are this kind of person. So when I was feeling that question, I was not x-raying from what they had been saying all along, that is there anyone here that I fall under that category that is likely to go towards this end? But I was happy that I wasn't showing any traits, and by God's grace, I'm not going to show any traits in that area. So yeah, it was really a defining moment for me and more like a warning for me to be careful because even the Bible says, let who good things he stands, watch again. That was another watch again moment for me.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you. So maybe we take one more person. Who wants to go? For those who are joining, question was, we've gone through 6 of the processes, right? And whichever one you want to talk about, what has come out of it for you, and maybe just share. Bob, were you trying to say something? Okay.
Oh no.
No.
I'm trying to switch this thing so that I
Okay.
can video. Sorry.
Please, all the people that are not with their video on, is there a reason why?
I'm driving over. I'll soon get inside the house.
Okay. No, please, if you're driving, then that's fine. Okay. So no other takers, I take it. Anything from you?
So I think for me, it's the Lord, but
Is the
first,
one?
it's the Lord,
Okay, the Lord, but first. Okay.
that's just been ringing. They all stood out, but that's been ringing a lot in my head because everybody who fell literally seemed like they had a good reason. And, we always tell ourselves all these very valid excuses. And we say they are okay excuses because we're doing this, we have to do that and we have to do that. That just opened me up again to standard, which is completely opposite to what we know.
Yes.
And coupled with the book we're reading now. So everything I'm processing or doing, my head is just always saying, am I doing kingdom or am I doing the standard of men in the things that we're supposed to do? So it has set that question almost every day now. I set like a source of evidence for me by things I do, and I execute them.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so let's just go straight into it. So, like I mentioned, this has been a very, very tight season for me. So much. In fact, I just took like a couple of days off because one of the biggest weights has been lifted for me. Like, first draft of my book is done. And I'm going to start reading it again and going through it, the whole process of editing and all of that. But for me, like 80 to 90% of the work is done in my head. And then, I will just follow through. But I remember when I got the charge to do this, and I was like, can we do this another time? I have this thing I'm chasing and I need to finish it. And every time I get involved in something else, maybe these master classes that have been happening is back to back for me. Some of you will just do your own month and that's it, but I have to do every single month, right? Because I'm the one driving it. Either I'm calling somebody or to go and do something or to do that or whatever. So it's been quite hectic for me this year, to be honest, but I know it's all in my stride. It's all part of capacity building and all of that. So when I got this prompt in my spirit to do this craftsman stuff, I was like, maybe I can do it another time. But the pressure was there for me that this is the time to do it. You're not going to get another shot. And that's why what we've been learning about Kairos, I think it was yesterday, we were talking about in the book read about the right time. Or was it today? I can't remember, and I'm mixing it up. No, the right time is so important because if you miss something that you're supposed to be doing, you probably will never get it back again. Even if you try to do it, it would not be the same. So that's the prompt I got, and I'm happy that I kind of followed through. So what was God saying to me? He was like, look, you've been talking about purpose to these people. We've learned today that it's about really planting gardens in the mind of people. It's a heart and mind thing. By the time they get it to the point where it now becomes a part of their consciousness and their thought process, they will now actually begin to act out and plant these gardens. So it first starts from the mind. So literally all of us from the beginning, we're actually called, we've said it, some of us are igniters, some of us are restorers, some of us are repairers, encouragers, etc., etc. When we started off, we had all those names, right? Teachers. And God is calling us. If you notice, you cannot be a restorer if you're not restoring people. You cannot be an igniter if you're not igniting people. Everything we are talking about has to do with people. And that is what the Great Commission is about. The Great Commission is about people. It's just that we have been assigned different spheres different territories, different people, but we have to reach them, okay, with this same guiding principle, right, in the areas that God has called us. So it's very, very imperative that we take it seriously. So let me just go straight into what I have today, just a few slides. From the beginning, we started off with, so what I'm doing is I'm just showing you mine. I'll still put it up on the group, and then you guys, the whole idea is use it as a model and then go and sort yourself out and create yours. Okay, so we started off with the PMVs. What's your calling? What's your purpose? What's your mission? And what's your vision? I send videos out. Hopefully we all watch those videos, and that's what probably we use to craft ours. So like I said, maybe you crafted it just to tick the box. I don't know. Whatever it is, please go back again, look at it, use this also as an example, and try and craft it, because the whole idea is that you're trying to get a blueprint for yourself that would hopefully guide your life for the next few months, next few years. And it's not something that should be one elaborate 200-page document. No, no, no. 5-6 pages that you will always have. Like for me now, I have all of these things that I put here somewhere in my study, on my wall, somewhere, because I'm constantly being reminded that this is the most important thing in my life. It doesn't matter what is happening, work, everything, it doesn't matter. This is the most important thing in my life. If I cannot answer to these things when the chips are down, I have failed. I put up a video, I think it was Grace's video today. I don't know how many people watched it, but that's really what it's all about. What Apostle Emmanuel Effa was saying. When the chips are down, nobody will say, oh, he tried, he did. If God had told you you were like a 10 capacity person and you only delivered 2, you have failed. That's just the truth. And nobody can tell you. You are the one that will know. And it's God that knows ultimately what capacity you had. Okay, so going back to this, my own calling as a liberator, yes, I do a bit of teaching, quite a bit of teaching actually, but I realized that I'm called to liberate people, especially in their mindset. Okay. So to set captives free, proclaim acceptable year of the Lord. This year is the acceptable year. Next year, when I'm talking to, that year will be the acceptable year. So that's what it is. It's always the acceptable year of the Lord for me when I reach out to people and I'm talking to them about purpose and I'm talking to them about what they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to be prioritizing on the basis of kingdom. That is my mission. That is what I'm supposed to do. And God has now streamlined it in such a way that I am looking to get people to understand that time is their most valuable resource. And the way they're actually giving it away is alarming. You're giving it away. You're scheduling these things, all these plenty things you're scheduling. And I'm asking yourself, out of all the things you're scheduling, how much of it is to do with kingdom come? Okay. And we need to now be conscious of that. So that's really my mission. I'm doing that through different ways. But then the vision I have for now, and these things will change over time, right, is to really get 1 million people to be financially independent, because I see that as the major thing that impedes people from functioning and delivering on their purpose. Why? Because they're chasing money. And God said it. You can't serve both God and mammon. We don't like to say we're serving mammon, but that's what it is. If you're spending all your time chasing money, you are serving mammon. So you can't really serve God acceptably, right? So if people can find a way or get to a point where they are financially independent, that means they now have a choice. Because some people are like, I don't really have choice now. My work says I should come by so time. I should do this by so time. So I'm under the gun, as it were. So, but if people can become financially independent, then they can now be equipped with the right knowledge, tools, and a plan, just like we're doing now, for them to now go and dominate their part of the world that God has called them to do, to dominate. Okay, so this is me in a nutshell. This one page summarizes my life and what I'm about. And I think if you're able to crystallize your purpose, your mission, your vision, your calling on one page, it just makes your life easy. And like I said, this is a working document. Maybe tomorrow, God will say, tweak this, tweak that. You are the next another phase, and then you update it. But for every given time of your life, you should have this document that represents what God is saying now for you. Yeah, I don't know if that's clear. Yeah, does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so that's it. And I think our step one dealt with this. Yeah, we did purpose. All of us did. I'm sure we all tick the box on this one. All right, so I think we're good on this one. Are there any questions? If there are any questions, please let me hear them so that we'll just take the questions as we go. We might not have time at the end. That's why I'm doing it like this. So are there any questions on this one? Okay, no. All right, let's move. So once you're able to do this, we now went into personality, right? And it was funny that everybody was kind of like surprised that they had changed. At least most people. I didn't change. I've always been an architect. And so it's always good to remind yourself of who you are. A few of us have done, the guys that did KFS with me, Odufa and Aloy, you guys did the Clifton Strengths, right? I'm sure you guys did. Okay, IBS, you did. FA on the call, right? You did Clifton Strengths.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, great. So it'd be good to pull it up again and look at it, because I looked at mine and it's still in line with what I got from my high five tests. You know, some of us have actually changed also in our high five test. Mine is still sort of the same. I haven't changed. Okay, you looked at yours. Okay, IB. All right. Al, did you do yours? Did you do Clifton Strength during your KFS?
I think so. We did plenty tests.
Yeah, so check it out. Yeah, you might need to look at it again.
I'll look for it.
Okay. All right. So I looked at my Clifton Strengths, and then I looked at the recent high five test. So the fact that things are changing for you, it means you have to come up with a schedule for redoing this test for yourself. If you're changing rapidly for any reason, you need to now know what your new strengths are and all of that, so that you can now align properly. Yeah, I think it's something worth doing. So that's why I've put the dates and all the things here. So maybe the next time I might do this is next year again, you know? So similar thing people should think about, yeah? All right. So I don't think there are any questions on this one now. This one is straightforward. We all did this test, at least the high five and the personality test. There are many other tests, but I just feel like these ones are like the key ones because it tells you a little bit more about yourself. For people that haven't done the personality before, there's actually a full report. I don't know if we all got our reports, the full report. There is a massive report that you can actually dig in and really you'll be shocked at the things you find out, really, when you read it. You'll be like, wow, I didn't know that the people have captured all of this and categorized it and explained it to this point. Okay, fine. So Allah said he did. Okay, that's great. So this is it. So we did our PMVs, purpose, mission, vision, calling, and then we did our personality and we did our strengths. I think this was level 2, right? And then the next thing is that we talked about our assignment being the same as Jesus's assignment. So whenever I hear people say, I don't know what my purpose is, I don't know what my purpose is, it used to really bug me because how can you just be on earth and not know? And then, like I told you guys, I got this, it was kind of like, I really call it a revelation. God just opened my eyes to it, that look, it's all about these things, these 6 things here. That's what he came to do, and that's the assignment he sent us to do. So for me, I've looked at the assignment, and I realized that at this phase of my life, I am doing the ones in green. So he's called me to proclaim good news to the poor in my own field. And the poor in my own field is people are not doing well financially and all of that. So that's what I'm doing. Number 3, proclaim freedom, like I mentioned earlier on, to captives. Some people are captives of their work processes, they're captives of their habits, they're captives of wrong decisions they've made in the past, etc., etc. And then on number 4 is to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance. So the year of the Lord's favor is the day you wake up. That is the morning that has come for you. and also the day of vengeance. God is willing to avenge his enemies, or he has actually, but he's waiting for you to realize that he has done it and then take possession of what is yours. You know, so you can see that for me it's more of to proclaim, and I tend to be doing that through the kind of teachings I do, coaching I do, mentoring I do. So some other people, you might be called to 5 and 6, comfort those who are mourning, like our encourager here, Odufa. You might be in one of these other categories that might not necessarily be 1, 3, and 4. So whatever it is for you, you need to find it and define it, yeah, in your head, so that when you are approaching what you are doing, you can easily say, maybe I'm going off course, or I'm doing something else that I'm not supposed to be doing, especially in this season, right? It kind of gives you like a map to work that out. And then for me, at this point in time, I'm assigned to two mountains: religion mountain and economy. So religion, because that's where God has called me to go and bring people out. So I'm called to, and Obadiah 1:21 says it's the remnant of the saved in Mount Zion. So my catchment area is really people in Mount Zion who have come to that point where they've been doing church and they know that there has to be more than church. There has to be more than this going to service, coming back and feeling good with yourself. Those are the people I'm called to, the remnant, right? And then also, predominantly, my work is on the economy mountain to do with finances and all that You know, so, and it's always good to find these scriptures that really back you, because when the chips are down, these words will be tested. So you need to know them. They need to be like anchor scriptures for you and your mission and all of that. Okay, so this is what it is for me for now. Like I said, this is a very fluid document. Things change. Who knows? You can call me to go into the government mountain at some point. I don't know. But for now, these are the mountains I'm called to. Okay. So are there any questions on this sheet, on this page? No comments, no questions. We might not have time at the end, though. That's why I'm asking now. Yeah, because of the we have like a book read in another 30 minutes. No questions. Okay, let's move. All right. So we now talked about the 4 C's plus 1, right? Okay. And I think I remember saying something about it when we did why did this person fail? Why did that person? And then we had that back and forth about, family must stay together, family must not stay together, and it could cost you your relationships. There's a potential, blah, blah, blah. And I hope we got that in the context and in the balance that was required. Is there anybody that is vehemently opposed to anything that was said, and maybe there's still no balance and they are still struggling on that issue of what it might cost you to actually be a kingdom person? Anybody? Okay. Shola said everything is great. Okay, IB, we trashed it quite nicely. Okay, fantastic. Brown Sugar, are you on this call?
Yes, I'm on the call. Good evening, sir.
Okay, great. Is there a reason why your video is off? You're somewhere you can't be on?
Yes, that's
Okay,
why.
all right, that's fine. Okay, so let's go to this. Okay, Aloy, she picked the wrong one. Sorry, who's this? Who picked the wrong one? Oh,
The
okay, you
mistake.
are gisting in the group. Okay, all right. Okay, so basically, I was gonna say something now. I think all right, so the 4 C's plus 1, we talked about your crowd, your called, your chosen, your core. Now, I'm just giving you this as my example. Yours is different, and it has to be because we're all called to do different things. But your ability to now know what these C's are for you will really help you to streamline how you go about it. So let me give a background, yeah? When I started this whole New Kings thing, I used to get very frustrated with everybody because you see that some people didn't get it. And I used to wonder, what are they doing here? I say, why are they wasting their time or wasting my time? Until I got to the point where God was like, okay, not everybody is supposed to be doing it at the pace which you are called to do it. Yeah, there's some people that are just going to be laggards. Some people are just going to be here for the ride, and that's it. And maybe at some point in their own journey and their evolution, they will get it, but they might not get it now. And by the time they get it, you might not even be available for them anymore. But now at least they've gotten it. And then some other person will take it up from there, you know? So that kind of helped me like to balance so that offense doesn't creep in. Remember that we talked about the crowd. Moses had the crowd mess him up because offense kicked in because they were just stiff-necked people and all of that and all of that. And that's what happened. He missed out on the promised land because of the crowd. Okay, so if you're not able to identify and isolate these people and what they need from you, you might actually get into burnout, you might get into offense, you might even be dissipating a lot of energy on the wrong set of people, right? So that's pretty much what this was about. So for me, as God will have it, I've sort of like been able to, and all of this, let me just say, it didn't just come on day one. So I'm not expecting that everybody now will just know who their crowd, but be aware that you need to find out what these things are for you, right? So maybe I only got this kind of clarity last year, yeah? And I've been doing this for a while. So, but I always say that if somebody is gone ahead of you, you don't need to now take the same amount of time that it took the person to do it, right? That's the reason why the person went ahead of you, so that it will be easier, faster for you and all of that, okay? So if you're now thinking about it, you should now, in your mind's eye, be praying about it, targeted. God, who are my crowd? Who am I called? Who am I chosen, etc. And then he will begin to answer you along those lines, okay? So for me now, my crowd, what do I owe them, as it were? I owe them training, yeah? And I'm doing that, in collaboration with other New Kings in our masterclass series for now. Until God gives me another thing to do for them, that is what I'm doing for now, okay? I have an assignment to do like 8 of those trainings. We've done like 4 so far, and we have another 4 to go. Now, for the called, this is like community people. I'm supposed to coach them, yeah? So I'm doing reading Financial House. Of course, I have my coordinators on call that are helping me, lifting my arms up. And then for the chosen, craftsmen, so you guys are part of my chosen. I'm doing this sort of training for you guys, helping you guys because you are now more interested in discovering purpose. I'm not going to waste my time with people on New Kings group because most of them are not. I might just drop one video here and there just to excite them once in a while. But for people who have now taken the leap to say, you know what, I really want to pursue purpose, yeah, then I will now go into this level of craftsman training. And then, of course, part of what we'll talk about, which is strategy, is how you guys are now going to be training other people to be craftsmen as well, okay? And then mentorship, I call them ambassadors, envoys. These are people, like I said, who are already doing their own thing. They've gone through most of this. I've had like one-on-one with them. We've had sessions, we've done projects together, like discovering treasures, different things. We've bonded beyond the whole what's it called, New Kings community and even craftsmen. We've gone a bit deeper, right? So those are the people that I would consider like I'm giving mentorship a little bit more than discipleship, which is what I'm doing here, right? We talk one-on-one. I can sit with them. Sometimes I have conversations with FA specifically on what he's doing with his own tribe. Sometimes I sit with Odufa. We talk about tribe family. We talk about she tribes. We talk about he tribes. That's that level of granularity. Yeah. So hopefully by the time every other person that I've not mentioned now takes their one thing seriously and they've started really developing it and going somewhere, they will probably move to that level where we can have that one-on-one and, really fine-tune things. Okay, then of course, the one. Yeah, so my wife has been with me on this journey since day one. And of course, there are different things that we do together, kingdom-wise, and all of that. So this is just pictorially, what my 4 Cs plus 1 looks like. So does this make any sense to you? Any questions? I'm trying to. Okay, yeah. Adesua, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. From the chat, what you sent, I just want to ask a question. Did you get your core members from the crowd? My question, the reason I'm saying this is, does it have to progress, like is trickling down as you go along your purpose?
So no, it doesn't have to be, but like, everything doesn't have to be linear. For me now, you'd be shocked that I got my first core member before I even started anything on purpose. That's just how it is, right? So me and FA started this work long before there was anything like New Kings, right? And then once we started doing KFS, I remember it was after Odufa's batch. I forget the year now. Odufa, can you remember? I can't remember what year you guys did your own.
2020.
2020.
Yeah, 2020. And after that batch, I just got a prompt by the Holy Spirit to call certain people that just finished. So I called Odufa, I think I called IB, and who else was there? Audrey, right? Audrey, and then there was another guy, Daniel.
Audrey was not there initially.
Okay, Audrey was not there.
David.
It was David, good, Ibanoi. And then there was, what
Daniel.
about Daniel? Daniel was there, yes. So I called, those are the names that the Lord placed in my heart, that they've gone through KFS. You need to pick these people. I have another assignment for you. And then we did something called Discovering Treasures. We're supposed to be helping teenagers or young people, to go through and teach them in 5 specific areas. That was the assignment. There was nothing like New Kings, right? And so I obeyed, picked them. We went through a very grueling process to get, the Discovering Treasures done. And then I think from there, things started morphing into New Kings and all of that. So the point I'm making is that it doesn't have to trickle down like this. You just have to be attentive to the voice of the Spirit per time. And he might tell you, oh, this person is your core. This person is your this. And then that's what it is. Yeah? Does that answer your question, Adesua?
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right,
Thank
Efe,
you.
your hand is up, and then we'll take China.
Okay, so I wanted to, meeting. I wanted to speak to what happened on the call yesterday. I overheard the discussions because I was hearing my wife speaking, so I came around to hear what happened. And this is maybe to everybody on this call. I and Swanu have had these discussions many times.
Okay.
So, what Swanu is sharing now, like he has just said, it didn't happen overnight. It's a journey that has taken almost 8 years to finally come to this point. One of the pain points he has always had is, and we had a lot of fights then, if you remember, we always fought about this, is how do we determine the right people? How do we know who we're supposed to be serving? How are we sure we're not expending resources on the wrong people or casting pearls to swine, And the truth is that process took a while, for it to crystallize, as you can see. He's now able to tell you about 4 seasons and 1 and all of that. But it wasn't like that from the beginning. And the reason why I'm sounding it as, I think, is a caution, because I reflected a bit more after that call yesterday. We don't want to get into an elitist mindset, right? You are called to the people to disciple them. That is your job. If we're not careful and we carry a mindset of, people are unserious, so we have to cut out, we only have to take the serious people. Who prepared those people who are unserious to become serious? Someone did that work, right? And you don't know if it's going to be you, right? People on this call who are here, who seemingly are very serious today, someone put in the work that has made you get to the point you're in. So I think it's really important that we really understand what the model for you is. It doesn't come overnight, right? That's 1. 2, sometimes God allows you to go through those initial processes because there's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And sometimes those lessons are the foundation that enables you to do your work. So for example, the work I'm doing now and all the incredible things that God is showing me to do and all the things I've done is because I served with Swanu and we've built something together and it's now turning into a thriving community. But if you were there in the early days when we started, you know the madness that went in. It wasn't a joke. It was not a joke. It's a lot of toiling and struggling to get to this point. Yeah, by the leading of the Spirit. So why am I saying this? A number of us who have not yet started this journey of one thing, you cannot go off on a tangent, on the premise of a mindset or a strategy that is specific to Swanu. You cannot carry that and say, okay, because see, the risk is that if you carry that mindset, okay, I'm only always going to weed out these people, the people are unserious, there might be a core of people that you are missing. Because in the end, this is a stewardship journey. So if God sends you 100 people and you're only able to take 10 through, you're going to be asked what happened to the 90. You must have a good response to that 90.
Yeah.
Right? If you cannot answer, this is what happened to the 90. I did this, I did this, I did this, and this is what happened. And or you come and you start saying, at the initial stage, I created this process, and because of this person dropped. So, for example, you create a process, and I've had this conversation a bit more deeper with Swanu, specifically on the financial house, because of what happened in the last batch, right? So, if Baba comes and asks you what happened to these people, you can't answer the question. Then, have you been a steward? Have you really done your job? Or you're looking for the easy way out? Because the easy way out is, I'm not going to deal with the crowd. I'm not going to deal with people. As in, it just doesn't work that way, guys. It doesn't work that way. And the reason why I'm saying is because the tone of conversation yesterday, I felt we're missing the point. And I really like what Femi did when he spoke. Unfortunately, I don't think Swan was on the call.
Yeah, I missed
So
that. I missed that whole conversation.
Femi really hit the nail on the head. Swanu's process is not yours. You're working for the Spirit of God. He will give you your own process.
Fantastic.
Don't look for the easy way out and get yourself into a situation where you cannot demonstrate stewardship. For some people, the assignment might just be one person. God might only call you to save one person. And that one person is the one that will pull everything that is for you. And that's the thing about this assignment. Nobody knows the details. So let us be very careful as we approach the work that we're doing. It is serious work, as we all know, but you need to go at it with the right mindset and be led by the Spirit of God only, and not by, as it were, ideas or ideologies that we have not tested by the Spirit. I needed to sound it here because this is Craftsman, and because of the way the conversations went yesterday, I was very uncomfortable. So I felt I needed to bring that warning here because I can say it because I know Swanu, me and him, we know how we came to this point and the fight. But thank God that he stayed true. And now it's clear he has a strategy, but it took years to come to this point. It's not overnight. So you also would have your own strategy and it will be revealed to you in time. It might be that for now, you just need to serve everybody because there's something you're supposed to be learning. You don't know. I don't know. Right. So I really needed to say that. I think it's really important. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Like we always say, tension lies in the balance of two seemingly opposing truths, right? So I hear Effie, and it's really true that you need to start where God has placed you, and where you start might not necessarily be where I am right now or what I'm doing. And so it's very important to take that on board and let the Holy Spirit be your guide. At the same time, you also have to learn from what has worked and what has not worked, because it will be unwise of you to say, okay, this has worked. There's a reason why I'm here. And a few of us who have gone ahead, maybe people that are on the envoy level, are here with you on this Craftsman call because there's some things they've learned the hard way. It would be very unwise for you to say, no, I must do my own hard way too. Very unwise. So please pick the brains of people that have gone ahead of you. That's why you have them. And then when you have learned what they have gone through, you will find out what the pitfalls were. You also find out what the things to sidestep are. And then take all of that back and go and feed it back to the Holy Spirit in your conversation time, I'm doing my due diligence. I have learned from the people that have gone ahead of me. I am also in this situation. What am I supposed to do now? So that you be somebody who is holistic in your view and well-rounded in terms of the opportunities you have gotten to hang out with people that have gone ahead. I just imagine if someone like me now, maybe I get an opportunity to hang out with a Bishop David Oyedepo, or anybody that I consider a luminary in this kingdom work, then I now disregard what they have gone through because my process is different. That would be very unwise. So let's take from both sides. Hear what Efe is saying, but also hear what I'm saying, which is you have to learn, or else you will repeat the mistakes that a lot of us have gone through. You will waste time, and that will not be also wise stewardship. Yeah. All right. Let's take Chinwe very quickly, so I don't shoot into 8 o'clock. Chinwe, please.
Okay, so mine is a question. Please, under the financial house, I'm seeing is called, and then for this book, the new book, that's the Greatness Journey, is under choosing. Does it mean that for the Greatness Journey to be restricted to a limited number of persons?
For now, when it comes, this is what I've gotten right now, but we don't know how it's going to unfold. A lot of these things, and also I'm the kind of person that the way I work, I'm tuned, my personality and all of that, and also the way the Lord works with me is that I would try things out and then circle back, do an after action review, see how it worked and all of that. So for now, it's going to be open to as many people that are led to be part of this first session. Yeah. But I know the content of the book. It is heavy. If you think Financial House was heavy, this one is so heavy that a lot of us on this call, craftsmen, you'll be questioning a lot of things that are in the book. And you have to go back and do deep study to convince yourself that what is. So it is not for like people who are just, I just want to read book. Yeah, some people might just join and then they'll definitely drop out because it's definitely going to be for them, right? So this chosen is for people who have said, you know what? I am actually on this earth for a purpose. I am going on this journey, but now I need to know what it takes to go on this journey. So it's a bit deeper than what people got out of the financial house. So how it's going to play out eventually, I don't know, but I just have an idea of what I'm going to try out first, and then you see how it goes. And of course, as the Holy Spirit begins to prompt me, then of course we'll make the changes as we go along. Okay. All right. So any other questions on this page? Is it clear? All right. Let's move. Okay. So we now spend time talking about strategy, right? And just like Efe said, everybody's strategy is specific. Joshua cannot say, I followed Moses and the way Moses was doing it is the way I'm going to do it because we came out of Egypt together and this is it. No. Even God told Joshua that we are entering a new phase. We are going to do things differently. And he gave him specific strategies down to what he would do when he gets to Jericho, what he would do when he gets to Ai, then what he would do when he gets to the other cities. As in, strategy was specific. So please, as a craftsman, your strategy must be specific to your assignment. And I think this is also buttressing what Efe said previously. It is specific to you. Now, what God spoke to me specifically, and that's why I said this is more like I'm running through my own, not to tell you that this is what it should be for you, right? He said there are 3 pillars to what you're going to be doing: people, wealth, and systems. Those are the 3 pillars. And then he told me the people I'm going to focus on. So New Kings, craftsmen, and then envoys. I have numbers for those people for now. It might change. Like I told you, this is a working document. Then for wealth, he's told me exactly what I need to do. The Commonwealth, a venture capital firm that would also help invest in growth businesses of people within New Kings, and then also like an aggressive campaign for spreading the gospel of the kingdom, not just any message, just the message of the kingdom worldwide. Okay. And then, of course, there are systems which I'm going to collaborate with other people on But that's in a nutshell the strategy he has given me. So for people, it's more about mind renewal. Just like when we read it, I'm just excited that this book is really buttressing some of these points. Mind renewal. And that's why read aloud is a strategy for me. It might not work for you. Yeah. Because I'm called to people to help change their mind, to liberate them from certain patterns. And you can only transform a mind when you renew it. And you can only renew your mind by reading, by getting new information. And so the strategy he gave me was read aloud. And that's why we do the read alouds the way we do them. Okay. And then, of course, I also write specific books for specific areas. And then now he has added things like master classes and all these other things, right? So that's for the people. Now for the wealth, we're going to go into group economics, locust thinking, and that's why I've been pushing those ideologies through to New Kings. Very soon, we're going to start up our own cooperative, and we're going to have a venture capital firm, and then, you know, like an outreach ministry that would just sponsor men of God that are called to preach specifically the kingdom message across the globe. Okay? And then for systems, we're going to use networking tools, technology. Paid forward is also part of the strategy, and other tools, blockchain, etc., you know, to do things that will systemize all that New Kings are supposed to do and deliver going forward. So, like I said, this is not, I'm not saying please go and copy this. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just sharing what my strategy is and what he has given me. Okay, so now this is where you as a craftsman, you now need to go back prayerfully. You see, like I said, this thing didn't come one day. Oh. He might just show me one side. Then I have to be faithful doing this side. If you see where my cursor is. And as I'm faithful doing it, the other one opens up. But the beauty is that, and this is a lesson that everybody should learn, as it's showing you, don't think it's in your head. Capture it. This whole triangle was not in my head in one day. I only knew one part. Then maybe the system part came. Then the wealth part came. Then all of a sudden now it's looking like a very nice put together triangle. It didn't come like this, right? And please, it doesn't have to be a triangle for you. It can be a square, it can be a circle, whatever it is. This is just for me, right? So what I'm saying here is write it down. Whatever he tells you per time, write it down, because we always think we can remember. Our brain is not that good. Yeah, you would forget. Especially because the enemy wants you to forget. In fact, he will bring things to make you forget because he knows that this thing is going to decimate his own kingdom. So he's actually going to attack you on these issues. So please have a journal, have what you're going to be using as your place to capture these kingdom ideas that the Lord is dropping and the strategies that he's giving you for your own one thing. All right. Any questions on this? We have to go really fast. We have like 7 minutes. Yeah, no questions? Okay. All right. So I think this is almost the last page. So you now have to have your goals. Your 3 to 6 months, your 1 to 2 years, 5 to 10 years. Now you can see my 5 to 10 years is empty. I don't have anything there right now. That's why this is a working document. Tomorrow he might change my 1 to 2 years goal. But for now, 3 to 6 months, I know that I'm discipling people through books. I'm going to publish this next book in 6 months. I'm doing 12 read alouds. We've done, I don't know how many we've done now. I know where me and Ini are working on the teenage version of the financial house. I'm training read aloud facilitators and coordinators so that it frees me up to do other things while they get the work done. I'm organizing with other people, socials, bonding activities to really grow New Kings community and all of that. Training programs, we're collaborating with other New Kings to deliver masterclasses. I'm trying to reach 1,000 prospective New Kings. Right now, we're about 750 plus. And then give them practical ways to increase income streams, blah, blah, blah. Then mentorship, I'm doing this godlike training. I know we've missed a few months, but at least I have 6 classes I'm supposed to take this year. So you can see now that my 3 to 6 months, I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing for the kingdom. And I am tracking these things per time so that I know whether I'm doing well or I'm not doing well? Do I need to put in more effort? Do I need to, whatever I need to do, adjust? But if you don't have a goal, trust me, you will just be shooting anyhow, be feeling you're doing something, and meanwhile, you're not actually achieving anything. So for those who are doing the goal tracking, I'm sure FA and INI are doing a great job with that on Growth Hackers. So if you look at your Growth Hackers growth tracking, what I'm tracking on this thing now is my supernatural goals. I know you guys have other goals, health and all those things, but this is my own supernatural goals. Yeah, if I were to use your model of goal tracking. Does that make sense? Yeah? Everybody's blank. First of all, I've even gone off camera. Does this make sense? Bob, are you with us? All right.
Are these supernatural goals or kingdom goals?
Yeah, well, they call them supernatural goals, but they're kingdom goals to me. Yeah. And for me, those are the main goals that matter. I'm not saying the other ones don't matter, but for me, I track these ones well. Because when the chips are down, these are the ones that count. Yeah. Yeah, your health goals are good. I still track those. I do all those other things. Family goals, money goals. I have them. Me and FA, we have accountability sessions. Yes. FA knows why I'm coughing. So, we have accountability sessions for that. But this one now, my focus is kingdom goals. That's what Craftsman focus is. I'm not asking you to track your health goals. I'm not saying it's not important. Please track those ones. But this one is what I'll be asking you about. Yeah? So medium to 1 to 2 years, I'm writing the 3rd book. I have an outline, but I will start, I don't know when, but between 1 to 2 years, right? Because it takes me roughly like 2 years to finish my books. And then I want to start this edutainment series and all of that. So you get this. I'll post this on the group so we don't spend too much time. Then, like I said, my long-term goals is still up in the air. I have ideas, but nothing has crystallized. Yeah, but you need to have this. And this is a working document that you keep updating over time, right? So I think that's pretty much it. Then I have my vision board. Yeah, this is where I put everything together. So this is what I'm tracking this year. I know all these pictures mean something to me. It might not mean anything to you, but I have it on my wall. These are the goals I'm tracking this year for myself. Okay? And so you guys can come up with your own vision boards if you don't already have one. And then question and answer. So we're done. Any questions? We only have 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then we have to log off because it's almost time for the book read. So any questions?
So very quickly, my own question, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's the last slide, the vision board. So basically, a vision board doesn't necessarily have to have notes and all your vision goals, specific things you're working on. You kind of just pictorial representations of what these things mean, right?
Yeah, that's what it means for me. It's vision. It's like the end goal. What does the end goal look like? Or what pictures really trigger you when you see them that, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do? That's what it means to me. Yeah. Some people, maybe you might need to write. I don't know. If that works for you, then that's what it is. But for me, it's more pictures. I think in pictures.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So that's it. Sorry, we don't have time to take questions, but I can take questions on our Craftsman group if there's any. I'm going to dump this on the group. My expectation is that you're going to use this as a baseline, as a help, as a tool to draw up your own. And the goal is that you will finish it and post it for everybody to see so that we are going to hold you accountable. And there's a timeline to these things. I'm not going to pursue you. If you like, don't do it. When the time reach, I'll just knock you off from the group because you are not serious. When you are ready, you'll come back. That's it. I won't even chase you. That's why I've done the work now to just give it to you. Because if you don't at this point realize that this kingdom goals are the most important in your life, then there's nothing else I'm going to be saying to you. What am I saying? What am I telling you to do? It's not important. It's not important. So please try and do yours. It doesn't have to be as fanciful, but try and get it done so that you have something that you're working with. It's a working document, right? That keeps you in check and on your toes so that you get these goals achieved, right? Does that make sense to everybody, please? All right.
You mentioned timeline, no, but we have not mentioned the timeline. What is the
I'll share that
timeline?
on the group. We don't have time for this now.
All right.
We're done. I'll put all that on the group. Yeah. So thank you for your time, and I hope it was worth your time. Thank you. So we'll see you guys on the group. Well done.
Thank you,
See
sir.
you in book review.
Yes. Well done.
Party after party.
Party after party.
Because
Well done.
Elvis.
Well done.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.